So before we get started with any kind of data analysis or statistical analysis, we'll need to install R. Um, the easiest way to do this would be just to go to Google and search for R. We're going to search for open bracket R, close bracket. R is a pretty common letter in the English language, and that's why searching for it in this particular way will get us slightly better results. I believe if you search for just the letter R, you'll get similar results, but this is the safest way to do it. So let's click on the first one. That's the R project for statistical computing. Now we click on download R. You'll be presented with a list of mirrors. I'm located in the United States, so I'm going to just pick the USA one. First one is good for me. Pick the mirror that's closest to you. Your download will be obviously easier. Depending on the platform that you're on, choose the flavor of R that you'd like to download. I'm on Windows. I'm going to go with Windows. If you're on OS 10 or Linux, click on those. Click on install R for the first time, and then in order to download the installation files, you just click on your link here. Once you follow all the installation instructions, you're good to go. You have the base CRAN R engine running on your computer. If you're kind of feeling experimental, maybe you want to try a slightly different version of R. It's also open source. It's released by a company called Revolution Analytics. So let's search for that in Google. We'll click on the first link here, and you can download their product. It's called Revolution R Open. What they've done is they've taken open source R, the CRAN version of R, and uh, repackaged it slightly and added on some of what they consider enhancements. And if we click here, we can probably see a list of the enhancements. Right, so it is a high performance R language engine. It uses the Intel Math Kernel library. It integrates with the CRAN packages, RStudio, has third-party R integrations. It also has extended capabilities with the reproducible R toolkit. And I believe this allows it to run R scripts, older R scripts that used an older version of an R package in a way that if there is a newer version that may be not as compatible with your script, it can still run. It can still run. And the way it does this in the background is Revolution Analytics has a snapshot capability that takes a snapshot of the CRAN packages every day. Sounds kind of crazy, but that's what they do. I think it's a very interesting way to get scripts running consistently. So if you feel like you want to try this, just click on Revolution R Open and download Revolution R Open. And that's basically it. Once you've downloaded the installation files, install it, and now you have two versions of R running on your computer. And you can easily run these files if you just navigate over to R. So here we are, and that's R. And there you go. That's the console R. You can do various mathematical operations, 2 plus 2. You can get help on some function, let's say split, and that should bring up your help files. And that's basically it as far as installing the base R engine. On top of that, to make things a little bit easier and a little bit more friendly, I use something called RStudio. It's an integrated development environment, an IDE, that sits on top of R, and it just makes tons of things a lot easier. So you navigate over to rstudio.com, click on the powerful IDE for R, Now there's two flavors, there's desktop and server. You're looking for the desktop version. The server version allows you to have one server and have multiple users running in a centralized way R scripts. Uh, for now, let's just stick with the desktop version. You would click on download RStudio desktop and then pick the operating system that makes the most sense for you. I'm on Windows, so I would obviously pick this one. If you're on OS 10, you're on some flavor of Linux, you might want to go for those. And that's it. You download it, you install it, you get it up and running, and it looks something like, well, it doesn't look something like, it looks exactly like this. So again, you have your console window, which is the equivalent of the R console window that I showed you previously. What's neat about this is if you type help split like I did before, the split window, the help for the split command comes up on this pane over here. So everything is kind of integrated and together, right? It doesn't open up a separate browser for you to have to look at the help. It comes up right in this kind of environment that has basically everything at your fingertips, right? So if you had, instead of just outputting 2 plus 2, you wanted to store it in a variable. So there it's stored in x, right? You can check there, it's x is equal to 4. It also comes up here on the right in the environment pane, where in your global environment you have the value of x being equal to 4. Um, Everything here is at your fingertips. You get to see the history even of commands. So I was playing with this a little bit before, so I have a lot of other history in here. If you were plotting something, let's say you had plotted the plot show up right there on the right in the plot pane. Other interesting things are if you were editing an R script. So outside of this console environment, let's say you had created an R script and you started um, editing something like this, you can run those scripts interactively. And here you'll see that 2 plus 2 equals y is output over here into my console window, and it also ends up in my environment list over here. So we have x is equal to 4, y is equal to 4. So it's very nice integrated environment that lets you run commands from a script, runs them at a console. You can see plots, you can see your help. You can also see your packages, any packages that you have installed, any packages that you want to invoke. So for example, let's say I wanted to invoke a plot package, the ggplot package. I just click on it and it loads. We're not going to go into how to use packages in this particular video, but we will in future videos. So there you have it. In summary, you have a base version of R. You can also install the Revolution OpenR, and now you have RStudio running, and you're ready to go. One other quick note, if you have two versions of R running on your computer, you can switch between them. RStudio can switch between them if you go to Tools, Global Options, and under the General section, you can pick the R version. So here I have it pointing to Revolution R Open. You can change this and you could pick the other version of R or some other version of R that you have running. I'm just going to leave it unchanged, but if you choose to have two versions of R, that's one thing you can do to switch between them when you need particular advantages from each version that the other version might not have. So there you have it.